I mean, I know a lot about your story, but where do you want to start?
I think we should start from. Hi, everyone. My name is Rio Fredrika, and a lot of the reason behind why I'm doing what I'm doing with life now and all of the documentaries that we're making and all of the projects that we're working on is because my background is one of, I guess, intentional transformation, right? Years ago, so from the ages of also trigger warning, I am going to talk in detail about an eating disorder and I guess my learnings from it. And I'm going to be very open with you. I think it's important to realize where I was at to where I'm at now to make sense of why we're doing what we're doing. So from the ages of 15 to 24, I had a very severe eating disorder that completely took over my life every single day. It was more of a food addiction that, yeah, it was all encompassing, overwhelming, and quite frankly, really limited my quality of life, which I wasn't willing to live with for much longer. So how I got my eating disorder, because a lot of people ask me this, how did it start? There's lots in the reason as to why it developed. So I believe from like being a young child, I felt like I wasn't good enough. I explained in my last podcast, vlog, whatever this is, the reason why I feel like we're truly struggling with the feeling of not feeling good enough. So that came to me when I was young, through family stuff, through life stuff, and I really believed that, right? And then I remember at 15, I was really struggling navigating life at school. Because I didn't feel good enough, I would lie to make friends, and basically I was just living this lie. I just felt so inadequate that I felt like I had to project a story out so that people would like me because I didn't think I was good enough to be liked for who I was. So then my life just carried on going in a weird way that at the time I didn't understand. Anyway, by the time I got to 15, I started a diet that was horrendous. And I'm not even going to talk about what the diet was, but all of my family was okay with me doing this diet. And essentially it was not eating very much food at all. And I started to lose weight and people started to comment on that, which is why I believe we should never comment on people's bodies because we don't know what that could lead to. All people were saying to me was, oh my God, you look amazing. You look so good. Because we've had it drummed into us from society that smaller is better. Absolute bullshit. I can understand that certain things come with being healthy. However, this was so unhealthy. But because I was getting external validation from it, I carried on. I was like, oh, when I'm slimmer, people like me more. See where I'm going with this? And then I got caught up in an eating disorder that made me the unhappiest, most limited, most small-minded, closed off version of myself known to fucking mankind, known to humankind, sorry. And it controlled so much of my life. Started there, then I started modeling. Again, you're seeing the things in my environment that are fueling the fire. I struggled with bulimia, so I would eat. At first it was restrictive, but then it turned into bulimia. And now when I say the bulimia got so severe, anything I would eat, trigger warning here, I would make myself sick. On and off for majority of 9 years. There came a point, I got hospitalized, I went to the doctors and told them about it, and then I got put into outpatient care for an eating disorder unit, which really didn't work for me. And I still reflect on that now as it was so toxic for anyone in my position, the way that things were ran. That was my experience. Of course, I don't want to down talk anyone, but basically in the outpatient ward, I got weighed. Now, someone with an eating disorder, I don't think should ever be weighed. They asked me to drink shakes, which would make me gain weight, but no one focused on my mind, what was going on in my mind. It wasn't really a physical thing. It was a mental thing that then appeared physically. And the physical, I guess, was a side effect, right? I got to the age of like 19, 20. My cousin took me in, tried to help me get over it. And I did for a period. And then I fell back into the patterns. And then I decided that I couldn't live like that anymore. So I started embarking on a journey of, I'm going to get over this. Doctors have told me in the past, you never heal from these things. You just learn to live with it. Which is when I decided to be like, fuck no. And again, on reflection, the world presents so many limitations of what we can and can't achieve. Don't listen to the outside noise. Do not, because it will limit us in ways and make us feel like we can't do something. If I'd have listened to the people that told me I could never get over it, I'd have probably still been struggling now. I'm so proud of myself that my mind works in a way that goes, watch me. Watch me, I'm not living with this. You're joking. And then I got into alternative therapies, which are called alternative therapies, but really it's just about reconnecting with yourself. The first one I ever tried, I remember, was hypnotherapy, which gave me some mad revelation on my first experience. And then it scared me so much that I ran away and didn't go back for a while. But yeah, over the years, I then just dedicated my life into healing from my eating disorder. Through the intention of healing from my eating disorder, I learned so much about myself. It was nothing to do with the eating disorder. Again, the eating disorder was a side effect of how I felt within. And it was the same pattern in my experience for a lot of things like addiction and coping mechanisms. And there's obviously different severities of these things. But essentially, the patterns behind it, from what I've seen, are very similar. And then I did loads of things to understand it better. And I did a mixture of all different kinds of therapies. I did a mixture of like more out there ones. I did like therapy, talking therapy. I did different healing practices. I was just open to everything because I wanted to be better. And I think because of how my life has transformed now, when I look at pictures of my younger self, I was in such a bad way mentally. I hated myself. At points, didn't want to be here. There was many things I did that I didn't want to be here anymore, and I didn't want to exist. And now when I wake up in the morning, I feel this mad passion and gratitude for being alive, that if I could do that, then imagine what any of us could do. There were so many things I realized in my healing journey, like we only get one go at this life. And I don't think we should struggle. But sometimes the things that we learn from a young age, they give us the example that struggle is normal. And so we constantly tell ourselves that, and we follow that narrative. And then we end up walking into situations that are hard because we believe that we have to struggle in this life. But yeah, then this beautiful journey unfolded of me getting to know myself better. And it was fucking tough at points, like so tough. Eating disorders, I always think that they're such a complex thing because we need to eat to live. With other addictions, you can kind of remove, so say for instance, if you're addicted to alcohol or drugs, you can remove alcohol and drugs and you don't need them to survive. So you can never touch them again. Whereas you need to eat to live. So relearning how to nourish myself with food and relearning my relationship with food and my body was complex. It was tough. I'll never ever sit here and say it wasn't. But it was the most beautiful journey to dedicate my time to, because on the other end, fuck, it's amazing. And I don't want this to only be focused around the eating disorder. Learning to love myself as much as I physically can in this moment, one of the most amazing journeys. And it's a practice. You have to practice it every single day. But I'd much rather practice loving myself and being nice to myself than practice what I used to practice, which was pulling myself apart, putting myself down, telling myself how I wasn't good enough. Whereas now I tell myself how I am. I'm more than enough. Fuck, my life's abundant. And then my life, I always think life carries on always, right? It's how we feel about it that shapes our experience. So life carries on. Today I could wake up and go, today's shit, it's raining outside, it's shit, I don't like this, oh, I feel like this, negative. Or I can wake up and go, oh my God, life, another day, let's go. What are we going to do with today? I can look at this exactly the same day in so many different ways. Now, if we have the choice to choose the positive way of looking at things, surely that's better, no? I think the main essence of this story is I just realized transformation at any level is possible. At one point, I fully was in deep with this eating disorder that I couldn't see life any different. And now I could never imagine treating myself the way that I did during that. Which for me goes to show that anything is possible in terms of healing our relationship with ourselves. And so many of us walk through life struggling or feeling like we can never get over things that are attached to patterns, narratives, our mental well-being, but we can. We can, and I feel like I'm proof of that. I've got notebooks, because I kept them all. I've got notebooks of like things I wrote when I was in the height of it. And I look and I think, I just could never think like that anymore. So no matter where we are in life, if we do want to change our relationship to life and to ourselves, we can. There's so many tools out there, which is why I'm on this explorative journey, because I also know from this healing journey that it's ongoing, it's ever changing, it's ever evolving. Like, you don't just, for me, I've realized I don't just do one round of therapy and that's it. I'm healed. No, life's not like that. But the curiosity and the willingness to want to get to know yourself at every stage of your life, that's something I want to promote. That's something I want to share. That's something I want us to enjoy. Because it's really fun when we start to understand ourselves better. Honestly, life falls into place. And even the most simple, basic days can be fucking magic and like so incredible because of the way we look at it. So yeah, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.